I would like to invite everyone to try to absorb a little bit and stay in silence for another minute.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. After this meditation, I think Lila and Lavinia, they are gone, right? You're still there? No.
Oh, yeah, they're there. They just turned off the video.
I'm still there.
Okay, very nice.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
With Daji.
Yes, that was a wonderful session with Daji. It was very nice having him and answer a few questions, and also this meditative experience was wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
So how has today been going for you? Sessions?
Good question. Thank you.
I think you've been doing a great job. We've just been watching. I think it's been great, fantastic it has been. I think both of you have done really well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's not even finished completely.
No, I think it's been lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Did you enjoy? Did you participate on most of the sessions or on many sessions today?
Some of the sessions we were busy preparing for the session with Daji, so yeah. But we kept dipping in and out, seeing what's happening. You know, yeah.
And it's quite funny how I'm not even seeing basically the audience. Usually, I'm a talkative person who talks very easily in front of strangers.
Okay.
Yet somehow today, no, I was like nervous and like my voice was at the beginning shaking. I was like, why? I don't even see who is seeing me. Just talk like you usually very much do.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you, Leela.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening. Nice of the weekend.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao, and we will move on. So we are coming to our next session, the final session for today. I think it's a very beautiful conclusion. It's a workshop regarding self-compassion, and it will be done by Armen, Menechyan, and Hasmig, Tatiossian. Hasmig is a social worker. I will just say a few words. Hasmig is a social worker and educator who has worked in various non-governmental organizations in women's empowering, human rights, education, conflict transformation. And because of personal experience with workaholism, she is overall dealing with the subject of burnout and restorative self-care. And joining her today is Armen, who is also an educator, a teacher of yoga and meditation practices, and he has led many national, international seminars and workshops. So together they founded Stega, a yoga and meditation initiative in Armenia. And and we're very happy to have them here today. and they will talk about self-compassion, the last subject of the day. So please, Armen and Hasmig, I welcome you to join the stage. It's very nice to have you here. And yeah, I'll leave the stage to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi. Oh, so we're on live now. Setar, I totally relate to you with teaching online. You know, the past few days I've been doing these workshops, panels, co-moderating, facilitating, co-facilitating, and what a world, right? What a world. Yesterday I was leading a Pride panel. It is Pride weekend, you know, here and I hope everywhere. And we were talking about creating these communities of inquiry, creating these communities of sitting still, creating these communities of movement. When I think of doing this work, it involves people. It involves sharing and witnessing joy, but also sharing and witnessing the suffering together, united, because neither joy nor suffering means nothing if there isn't anyone to witness it. As we begin our session on self-compassion, I want to kind of begin with an intention. The intention being very motivated, very inspired by one of my favorite teachers who I learned from online. You know, I've been learning online a lot, as well as in person. My meditation mindfulness training is through the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, but also the yogic traditions. I'm a practitioner of Iyengar yoga. But this particular intention that we would like to set today, Hasmig and I, is as we create the space in the next 40 to 45 minutes, perhaps may we create a space of not causing harm. So if at any point, whichever exercise that we're on, whether it's the mindfulness exercise that Hasmig will be guiding, or the Metta meditation that I will be guiding towards the end, if at any point there is some discomfort, please step back. We invite you to do that. Pema Chodron says, it's a transformative experience to simply pause instead of immediately filling up the space. You know, as a teacher who connects with human beings in front of me and in a room, I feel like there's a lot of moments of simply having to pause with no feedback, and the ability to stop and not fill up the space has been powerful. You know, she continues to write, she says, by waiting, we begin to connect with fundamental restlessness. That's not a place I like to be in. She doesn't say that, I'm saying that. The restlessness is difficult, it's uncomfortable, but as well, it creates this fundamental spaciousness. So today, as we do the mindfulness exercise, let it be our attention to not cause harm, but also sit with that fundamental restlessness and perhaps accept and allow this fundamental spaciousness. That said, I'd like to present my lovely best friend, Hasmig Tatiossian, to explain what we'll be doing next. Yeah.
Thank you, Arm. That was really a beautiful welcome and introduction. Welcome, everybody. It is honestly so weird to do this without seeing really wonderful faces and just talking to ourselves in the camera, but I think we've gotten used to it at this point. So Armen and I founded Stega a few years ago based on a need that we saw among human rights defenders and social change makers in Armenia who were burning out, who were working day in and day out. And there was what we noticed, shame and guilt associated with the need to protect themselves and to care for themselves. And so we did a countrywide needs assessment to see if people would be open to trainings and workshops around self-care. There was a tremendous need expressed. And long story short, we ended up there implementing a curriculum many months later for a 6-week pilot project, teaching self-care practices and tools to social change makers in Armenia through the ancient traditions of yoga and meditation, and also informed by contemporary understanding and knowledge of neurobiology and trauma. And since then, we've grown a lot, and our curricula has shifted a lot, and we continue to do workshops, 45-minute workshops like this one, or many day-long trainings internationally. So that's who we are. Just a note about what self-care means to us. So I think a lot of times when people think about self-care, they think about maybe something relaxing, like having a massage, or maybe going out for a walk. And those are all really wonderful practices of self-care. We want to focus on something slightly different, which is what I like to describe as a more restorative type of self-care. Most of us, especially those of us who are involved in human rights work and social justice work, or who are in any way in service to others, are constantly a witness to the suffering of other people, of other communities, of the planet. And that takes a toll on us, and it triggers our own wounds and our own pains. And so a restorative type of self-care goes into those wounds, bears witness to one's own suffering, and finds ways to sit in that discomfort. As Armen so beautifully quoted from Pema Chodron, knows how to sit in that space of pause and also aims toward healing. So that's the kind of self-care that we're talking about. And that's kind of the framework for us talking about self-compassion today. So we're gonna actually try to make this as interactive as possible, even though it's kind of all pretend. So we're gonna pretend like all of you out there in the universe who are watching this are gonna do as we instruct here. So I'm gonna lead a mindfulness exercise, and typically this is called feeling tones. I'm not really excited about calling it feeling tones because I think there are a lot of misconceptions between feelings and emotions. And so we're just gonna call this the tone of someone's initial reaction to an external stimulus. So all of us constantly react to external stimuli. Like something happens and initially we have a reaction. Typically, that initial reaction can be categorized as something that's pleasant to us, unpleasant to us, or that's neutral to us. And this happens on a subconscious level countless times throughout the day. It's only the really big ones that leave impressions, but we have these experiences all the time. So these reactions are based on our own lived experiences, are based on our unique set of lived experiences, our own self-perceptions, our own perceptions of how the world works. And then they lead to emotions, and then they are also attached to stories that we tell ourselves. So I'm gonna break this down and make it super concrete. I'll give a very basic example. If I say springtime, right? The season of spring. Initially, if you notice, what is your first gut reaction to that? Is springtime something pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Or is it neutral? So if you're someone who maybe celebrates a birthday in spring and you love celebrating your birthday, or maybe you're someone who loves the fact that the sun is finally out and you could take walks, then springtime is gonna probably give you that really pleasant first feeling tone. And then you're probably gonna feel joy or maybe some excitement. And the story attached to that is that it's your birthday in spring, or you like taking a walk in the sun and finally you're out of the dead of winter, right? If maybe your initial reaction to spring was an unpleasant tone, maybe it's because you felt an emotion of frustration. And maybe that frustration is tied to your lived experience of having really bad allergic reactions to pollen in the spring. And for you, it's just an irritating 2-3 month period of the year, right? So I hope you get what I'm trying to lay out here, is that we have these initial reactions that are tied to then an emotion that we feel with our whole body. Generally, there is a place in our body that we can locate the frustration or the anger or the joy that we feel as a reaction to that stimuli, which is then tied to a story that we tell ourselves or part of how we narrate our lives. So in much the same way that you reacted to this really basic example of springtime, we react to the much deeper dilemmas and questions and issues of our lives, including our own perceptions of self-compassion. So you've probably been hearing throughout the last 2 days some amazing workshops and talks on evaluating your life and making changes and making plans. Today, we're going to break it down into its most granular, into its most fundamental question, which is, am I deserving of self-love, self-compassion? Because we can make all the plans in the world about how to change our lives. If fundamentally we don't think we are worthy of it, it's moot. It doesn't make any difference. And so we're going to be coming to that question, but we're going to start in a little bit more of a distant place with this mindfulness tool. So this is how the exercise works. I'm going to read a set of 10 phrases, just like springtime. And we're going to do three rounds, and this is going to go very quickly. The first round, I would like you to only notice the tone that comes up as a reaction. So is your initial reaction pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? If you start having an emotional reaction, or your mind tells you the story attached to that, just notice that happening and don't get consumed by it. Don't over-identify with it. The second round, I'm going to take it a tiny bit slower. And this time I'll ask you to notice the emotion that's associated with that word or phrase. And with the third round, you'll kind of answer the why question. Why is it that emotion? What's the story attached to this? So we're going to go through this quickly. I'm going to pause for just one moment after each phrase. So take a comfortable seat, a deep breath in and out. You may wish to close your eyes. And with every phrase that you hear, just note pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Here we go. Field of sunflowers. The smell of coffee. Sitting on the side of your bed. Slicing a tomato. Your mother. Dipping your hands in mud. COVID-19. Your teacher. Seeing the face of your loved one. The smell of vinegar. Cleaning your room. Summer. Now let that all go. Take a deep breath in. Exhale it all out. Round 2. Now you're going to identify the emotion that was associated with that feeling tone. Field of sunflowers. The smell of coffee. Sitting on the side of your bed. Slicing a tomato. Your mother. Dipping your hands in mud. COVID-19. Your teacher. Seeing the face of your loved one. The smell of vinegar. Cleaning your room. Summer. Okay. Another deep breath in. Exhale it all out. Round 3. The stories associated with the emotions that came up. Field of sunflowers. The smell of coffee. Sitting on the side of your bed. Slicing a tomato. Your mother. Dipping your hands in mud. COVID-19. Your teacher. Seeing the face of your loved one. The smell of vinegar. Cleaning your room. Summer. So we're gonna see how this multimeter thing works now. We're gonna pose a question to you. And hopefully we'll get your responses in real time and see what your experience was. So we're wondering, as a result of this exercise, if in the first round you were able to label the tone as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral without attaching the emotion or the story. So for example, when I said seeing the face of your loved one, was it simply pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, or was there an immediate emotion, an immediate story attached to it? And so you'll have a few options here of rating how difficult or how easy that was for you. And I'm seeing it's called a Mentimeter. I think I said that wrong. So I'm seeing the Mentimeter here, and hopefully, okay. Okay, we're having some of the responses come in. So we have somewhat, it was challenging, definitely. Yeah. And I think this probably depends on what it is, right? And so like if I, maybe the smell of vinegar is something a lot more benign than seeing the face of your mother or a loved one, right? There are things that we are a lot more emotionally attached to and involved with than others. Some, like summer, can be much more benign and we may not have many stories associated with it. Or we may, if somebody that's really, really dear to us passed away last summer, then maybe summer has a really deep emotional connection at this point in our lives right now. So it really depends on which one it is that we're talking about. Awesome. We're all seeing this, right? The Mentimeter. It's not just me who's seeing it. Okay. Okay, awesome. So most of the responses are somewhat, some are definitely, and a handful are also challenging. So we tend to attach ourselves to those things that we deem pleasant, and we tend to avoid those things that we deem unpleasant. So for example, if your partner comes home and says, "Oh, you didn't clean the apartment again," right? You can have a number of initial reactions to that. You can either shut down, or you can be in a fight mode and like want to respond to them. But the whole point of this, going back to what the quote that Armen read, is that pause, right? Can we pause, notice the tonality of our initial reaction, notice what the emotional reaction is, and then investigate the why. Why am I reacting in this way? If we can slow down this whole process, then we can choose our responses consciously instead of reacting impulsively. And we're going to tie all of this to self-worth and self-compassion. And with that, I want you to think about someone that you care about very, very deeply. Someone that you absolutely love, someone who means the world to you. Think about how you love them. Think about how you expressed or how you would express how you love them. Think about how you would try to protect them if you knew that they were going to be harmed. Think about how you would forgive them. Think about how you would hurt if you knew that they were suffering. So just try to imagine this person in your mind's eye and try to really bring up that emotional space that you hold for them. See how that feels in your body. See where you're holding maybe that warmth, that fuzziness, that love, that tenderness and softness that you feel for this person. Now, here is the question. Do you also feel the same type of love and compassion for yourself? Would you speak to yourself in the same kind words? Would you protect yourself in the same way? Would you hold yourself as tenderly, as lovingly, and compassionately as you do this other person? As these issues of self-worth and worthiness come up, notice your internal reaction. Is it avoidance of this topic? Is it attachment to this topic? Simply notice right now how you're reacting to this. And think about where in your life you need a little bit more care. Is it in your relationships, your work, maybe school relationships, friendship? Maybe it's in the relationship you have with yourself. And what's holding you back from giving yourself that same love and that same compassion that you would give others? And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Armen, who's going to continue the rest of the conversation about self-compassion.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that, Haas. You know, I always wonder if I should like participate when Haas is guiding an exercise. You know, last summer we were together for 8 days. I mean, I'm talking 8 mornings and 8 afternoons and 8 evenings. And it was this back and forth of guiding sessions. So it was fully immersed in the experience. And some days I would step back and just, you know, fill my role as a facilitator. And some days I would get involved. So today I wasn't sure if I was going to participate, but I'm glad I did, because when I do this exercise, and this exercise is based on the second foundation of mindfulness in the Buddhist practices. It's called the mindfulness of feeling tone. So the bigger philosophy of when things are pleasant, I want it, and I don't want it to end. I like that. I like having the croissant, and I don't want my croissant to end. I had it this morning. You know, I had it with a nice cappuccino. But it ended. The joy of having the croissant ended. When it's unpleasant, and there are moments in the exercise when, you know, they're feeling tones. I like to use the word feeling tones because that's my training, is the feeling tones of like, yucky, unpleasant, I don't like it, I want it away. So there's this tendency of pushing it away, rejecting it, or avoiding it. I don't want to see it. I think the danger of wanting reality to be different than it actually is one root of our suffering. In mindfulness, in this idea of doing mindfulness meditations, of doing loving kindness meditations, heart-oriented meditations, the ground of it is not to cause harm. Easier said than done. So I sit, I'm meditating, I breathe, and then I feel that unpleasant sensation. What's being recommended, not only by us, but by teachers who we're trained from in the books that we've read and the practices that we do, is as the unpleasant sensation rolls around, to see it. It's there. Knowing, just like the pleasant one, I'm just going to present pleasant as like this nicer wave. It's a nicer wave. This wave will go, and this unpleasant sensation will also go, just because it's that's the nature of impermanence. Things end. When it comes to self-love, and we've been kind of toying with the idea of using self-love or self-compassion, and we just decided we're just using them interchangeably today. When it comes to self-love, the parts of ourselves that we feel proud of, the parts of ourselves that we're able to like display to the world, it's like, here it is, I'm studious, I am a great hard worker, whatever things you've attached to your sense of identity that if you feel proud of and good about, we want it. We want to show and display. But the sides of ourselves that we feel are undeserving, unworthy, the parts of ourselves that we do not want the world to know about, these are the ones where we often reject, don't want to see, don't want to hear about it. And this is where the work starts. So as Hasmig and I were thinking about how to move this session forward, is how to bring the self-love to the parts of the self that we often don't want to see. Like she said, COVID-19. For me, that was unpleasant. Of course, I don't want to see the COVID-19 destructing, the reality that I know is currently, things were going well. Things were going well. That's usually the fallacy. Things were going well. We kind of forget. We get this human amnesia of things were actually maybe not going so well, but now that they're going worse, we don't want to see it. We want it away. Self-compassion is, again, witnessing the parts of ourselves that is suffering with loving kindness. Seeing the COVID-19, seeing the destruction, seeing things that we do not want to see or others to see. But with that vulnerability, with that courage, saying, you know what? There is this grand spaciousness that is my heart. There is this grand spaciousness that I'm cultivating through mindfulness that is my mind. And in that grand spaciousness, all things belong. The good and the bad. I don't like using those as qualifier, but I just did. The parts of ourselves that we feel are deserving and the parts of ourselves that we feel are not deserving. All of it. We pour more love into the parts of the self that we don't want others to see. Now that's a concept. That said, I'd like to guide us into modified metta meditation. It's a practice that I was introduced, that I fell in love with. When people ask me, like, what's your spiritual background? For me, it's just practicing loving kindness towards self and towards others. And hopefully widening that circle of compassion so that not only do I hold myself in that self-love, but also my dear friend Hasmig, also these new friends, these strangers, Anastasia, who I met last year, also her, I hold her in my heart. Also, Grigor and Setara, who I just, we don't know each other, but they're strangers. They deserve also the love and kindness that I can hopefully give. And then maybe one day, those people who are creating policies that are affecting my own freedom and liberty, can I even include them? And that's, I think, the path of loving kindness that, I'm working towards personally, which is harder. How to cultivate that for those who sometimes actually might not be deserving of my love and kindness. So that said, I'm just looking at time because, our start time was like something 50, and then I don't know how much time I really have. So if someone could put a little reminder, that'd be great for me. And we want to save some space for a Q&A. So find a comfortable way to sit. You can also lay down. Around 12 minutes left. Great. I'll cut this down to 7 minutes. Find a comfortable way to sit and allow your eyes to softly close. Mindfulness practice of the breath and body begin with just knowing that the body is here, knowing that the breath is here. If at any time in the practice you feel that you need to bring your palm to your heart center as a gesture of, I am safe, I am here, please do so. 1 bell to begin, 2 bells to end. As you relax any physical tension that is held in the body by softening the abdomen, relaxing the eyes and jaw, just allow your shoulders to naturally fall away from the head. Many of you did the foot session, maybe relaxing the feet, letting the feet just ground, letting the sitting bones firmly descend towards Earth's gravity. And with each breath, breathing into the heart center and acknowledging this wish for lasting happiness, this wish to be free from harm, this wish to be safe, protected, loved, to love and to be loved. And as you begin this practice, in your mind's eye, visualize the person that is so kind to you, that loves you unconditionally. Perhaps the same person that Hasmig suggested a few moments ago, just bring them to your mind's eye. Someone who you believe is deserving of all the love, the care, the peace, the protection, the freedom from harm. And as you bring them to your mind's eye, from the heart space, from the space of love, from the space of spaciousness, offer them the following phrases. May you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. May you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. May you be safe. May you be at ease. My dear one, may you love and be loved. And then gently, if the space is large enough today, bring them into the heart space. Let the image of this person dissolve. Let it drop to the heart space. And then, for a moment, think about a person that you've probably seen today, a presenter, one of the moderators, or simply a stranger, or even just the idea of another person who is here with us, with you 2.0. Just as your person, your loved one, deserves the love and happiness and safety, freedom from harm, offer this person. It can just be an imagination of a stranger. May you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. Dear stranger, may you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. May you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. And then as the heart space radiates, if that's the case for you, as you breathe in, letting this space expand. And as you breathe out, letting the image dissolve and kind of drop into the heart space again. Again, if there's space for the stranger, containing them in this widening love and this widening compassion, perhaps including them also in your wishes for safety and peace. And then bring to mind a family member or a friend who you love, but there's also some difficulties. It's not always easy to be around them. Perhaps they've caused you some suffering in the past, but you still love them. As you bring the image of this person to your mind's eye, offer the following phrases. Dear friend or family, may you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. If the exercise is proving to be difficult, just bring yourself back to your breath. If you give yourself the permission to continue, offer again the phrases, may you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. Taking an inhale. Maybe with the exhale, offering them space in your heart center. Perhaps not today. Perhaps just let the image of them go. Perhaps right now they're undeserving of your heart space. Let them go. And then bring to your mind's eye someone who agitates you. Someone who perhaps has demonstrated malicious behavior towards others, is unkind, unloving. Just notice the sensations when you bring this person to your mind's eye. If you feel ready, offer them the same phrases just once. May you be safe. May you be at ease. May you love and be loved. Knowing that perhaps if they feel safe and loved, they too, just like the person who offers you all the love and the kindness, maybe they too can have the chance to show you that they are also loving and kind. And then let the person go. Let the person fully go. For the last component of this practice, bring an image of yourself, perhaps a time in your life where you're suffering most. Perhaps that is now. An image of your present self or past self, maybe even yourself as a child. And then with all the loving kindness that you offered the stranger, the agitator, the friend, the family, knowing that you too are deserving, all parts of you are deserving of this love. Offer the phrases. May I be safe. May I be at ease and at peace. May I love and be loved. May I be safe. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I love and be loved. And letting the heart space radiate. Just noticing what sensations arise. Perhaps pleasant or unpleasant, whatever the sensations, maybe with a slight smile, offer a bow to the self. Offer a bow to the people you brought into your practice today. It's taking a few deep breaths to acknowledge that all beings are deserving of safety, of peace, of protection, of love, of kindness. May all beings be free from suffering. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be free from suffering. Dear friends, I hope you do find all the reasons in the world to offer yourself all the love, all the compassion, in order to be out there really fighting the good fight of protection for all beings. We're not here alone. This work is so interconnected. Our lives are so interconnected. Our livelihoods, our sense of being in this world is so connected to the joy and suffering of all. So may you find that place of self-compassion. Thank you. I think we have a note here. Oh, yes, we had Q&A, but I don't think we have time, huh? That's okay.
Armen, you're curious, man. This was so nice.
Oh, you're crying. Oh, I hold you dearly. Oh, yes. You know, the tears are good. The tears are good. The gateways opening.
Yeah, thank you. Really, also for me, somehow it was really touching.
Yeah.
I love you. Thanks for including.
Love you too.
Me too. Also, Hasmig, it was lovely. Thank you to both of you. Lovely. Maybe I didn't expect the ending to be this strong.
I'm sorry.
Audience, we are. These are tears of joy, basically.
Yeah. Wow.
We're able to touch that place of tenderness within ourselves, and so often our self-critical minds are so harsh towards our own selves that this is an access point. Right now, you've hit an access point to that tenderness and softness. And then from there, expand to everyone else and the rest of the world and all beings.
I'm following the chat. It's like, I want to say, I'm not crying, you're crying. You know that. Our people on Facebook Live and YouTube just have relentless hours.
Wow.
Tireless
Really.
and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, really. Wow.
So unfortunately, guys, we don't have time for the questions, but it really breaks my heart that we don't have time.
Yeah.
We can be found at Stegamind on Instagram, on Facebook. We're working on our website, stegamind.com soon. So yeah, find us. We're here.
Homework.
Yes, really. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Rest of the day.
And yeah, for joining, and have a nice, you have a morning, I guess. No, you are in the States. If you go.
I have to go teach my yoga studio.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, very good. Very good. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, somehow I guess we have to still close this program in a way. Oh, yeah, we're still there. I think we will do it very shortly. I think it was a beautiful end.
And a beautiful day.
And a beautiful day as well, yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and I hope you can take something from today in one or the other way, something that you can use probably on a daily basis, or just an insight, or if it's just something new that you're discovering you didn't know before. Yeah, tomorrow we'll continue the program, not me and Seti, but the program will continue. It will be about evolving. Yeah, well, today we were focusing rather on going inside. Tomorrow we will look a little bit at the surroundings and how to deal with the world without getting lost. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I want to say. I would like to close the program for today with this. Would you like to add something?
Just thank you very much for being with us today. It was really lovely being your moderators for today.
Yes.
Very interesting.
I hope you enjoyed it as well. I mean, it's weird because we don't have any, I mean, we get feedback a little bit from the team, but we cannot see
But
everyone.
love to all of you.
Yeah.
As we just experienced. Thank you, and hope to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, hope to see you. And don't forget, exactly, you have here the Padlet link. You can write us on Padlet if you want. If you feel like expressing something, we'll be very happy and very glad if you can. Yeah, you can use this to let us know. Exactly.
As you probably already know, also the videos of all these 3 days will remain on YouTube. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoy your Saturday. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
And out.